Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you're here to join me for the Way of the Animal podcast. So for today's podcast, I'm back with Alastair and we've got a poignant topic to talk about.
It's, very poignant.
It's we came up with it today, funnily enough.
Today's Sunday.
Yeah. Work-life balance. Work and... I can't even say it.
Yeah. It's like that, living to work or working to live. Is that the one?
I have no idea. We're both quite tired, but we're like, this is exactly a topic that is important to us right now and on our minds, so we thought we'd talk about it.
It's a lesson that you and I learned a long time ago, because back in the day we used to work way too much and we didn't do anything, ever. And we weren't even making loads of money. It's like, I can almost understand if you're working non-stop and making loads of money, that, okay, I'm going to do this for a few years, it's going to be rough, but then I'm going to have loads of money to do whatever. But working lots and not making lots of money, and even if you do love what you do, it's rough.
I think I also feel a little bit like if you feel like you're suffering through working lots and, you're getting lots of money, that I know money is important, but I also know that that's 3 years of your, say you're doing it 3 years, like I said, that's 3 years of your life that you don't get back, you know? And what was it you said in one of the other podcasts? You could get hit by a bus, you know?
Yeah, that is very true. But there's a sense of, forward planning and that, if I put away a pile of money, then I can take a year off, or I can afford to buy this house or this property or, whatever. I can kind of understand it from that point of view. But from the point of view of, and the industry I work in, cutting myself off, the industry I work in isn't a high paid industry, but the hours are long.
Yeah. And we talk about it quite a lot because there's different forms of staff on the ranch. We're working on the ranch. And all the main animal involved ranch workers don't get statutory holidays, don't get overtime when you go over certain hours. It's just expected that you work long hours, you work weekends, you know.
Well, it's my contract's, I think, 40 hours a week. Last pay period, which is every 2 weeks, I did 130 hours in 2 weeks. So sort of, what's that, 65 hours a week.
And it's hard as well, like with the ranching and things like that and farming is, quite often the animals and their care comes first. As much as if there's an emergency at home or something like that, they are dropped, because as long as they've got something to eat and something to drink, their welfare is taken care of. But in the same way, managing them and making sure that they always have water and food to eat and aren't escaping where they shouldn't be, it is hard to maintain that and get time off.
Completely. And for me, the biggest problem I have with work-life balance, because I do have a problem with work-life balance, is that a story I tell myself, although I maintain it's constantly reinforced, is that if I don't do it myself, it just doesn't get done properly or just doesn't get done. That ability to rely on others to take care of things, which especially like you were saying with livestock and things, if I'm like, okay, you guys take care of this, and then I go away and then I come back and it's not been taken care of, or there's a bigger problem because it hasn't been looked at properly, I might as well have just done it myself and not taken the time off. And it
is, I think there's that degree of that responsibility in any role, but I think when you're caring for animals, like you've left them in charge of someone else, you've trusted someone else to do the care that the animals need, and you come back and it's not been that way. It can be, you blame yourself. I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have had my life. Yeah. I should have stayed here and looked after these animals so they're right.
And maybe it extends further. I'm sure there are people out there that do different jobs other than agriculture that, involve projects and things like that, and have the same issues where, well, if I'm not there doing it and making sure it gets done right, it doesn't get done right, or it doesn't get done.
Like
And
I said,
that feeling of commitment.
It's that responsibility.
It is that responsibility.
You want it to be done right and finished right. And it's like you care about what's happening.
Yep. You want to make a good job. You want to do a good job. You want to make sure everything's done right. And let's face it, at the end of the day, I get my paycheck probably whether I do a good job or not. But I certainly get it whether I put in all the extra effort and worry that I put in, you know. And so, because that's the thing is, and I see it time and time again, you put in all the extra work and all the extra effort, you don't really get anything for it. You don't get a thank you for it. Let's face it, if something happened, they'd replace you in a heartbeat and not think twice about getting someone else in. Now that someone else might not do as good a job as you or might do a better job than you. But really, your employer probably doesn't care.
They just want the job to be done. And you know, there's good employers out there that do thank you and things like that. But when it does come down to it, you are completely replaceable. Even though you might not be the person that replaces you might not be as good as you or whatever, it's still, they need to find someone to do your job. They'll replace you and that's the end of it. It's like,
that's it.
And they'll pay that person whatever, you know, unless they're completely not fit, and then they'll replace that person with another. It's realizing that you're actually expendable and it's not actually, you know, that you shouldn't put aside your life for your job.
That's it, because there's nothing worse than putting all that effort in and putting, like you say, putting your life on hold to fulfill the company's needs. And for what? What do you get out of it?
Exactly. You get your paycheck. But I mean, like I was kind of saying, and like money's important and you need your paycheck. You've got bills to pay. You got, you know, all that. And I totally get that. But there's also the side of it is life's to be lived. And if you're not living it, then, you know, what are you doing?
Yeah. Exactly. And so, yeah, that is a tough one. It is, I don't know. And I feel like it's a different culture. We recently moved from Scotland, a couple of years ago, moved from Scotland to Canada. And on a very broad stroke, the work ethic seems to be a lot lower here than it is in the UK. And I don't know. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
Well, because we talk about it a lot because it makes us laugh. Because in the summer, people seem to have boats either on trailers or on their roof racks or, you know, on the backs of their trucks. When they go shopping in town, it's just like we go shopping with our boat and then we go to somewhere with a boat and we do our leisure activities. In the winter, it seems to be snowmobiles strapped to bikes everywhere.
Yep.
And it's just, it really feels like when the weekend hits here, they're all up for getting out.
Everyone's up for getting out and playing. Except for us stupid mugs who are working.
Yes. We had one of those mornings. It felt like Monday today.
Oh yeah, today was a Monday morning.
You decided, so there's a bit of land that belongs to the ranch. There's about 5 miles from the main ranch hub that we've got custom steers on, so we graze cattle for other people. So they have just been arriving this last week. And we've got an electric fence line around the field that they're arriving into, and we're just teaching them about electric fences. And, you know, they're young stock, so it's good to keep a good close eye on them. And you had this thought of, I want to go and check them this morning, which was the correct thought. But you said, should we go check Swamp? We can walk the dogs over there and then, you know, come home and have a nice morning. Yeah. So we turned up and instantly saw, 30 or so cattle not where they're supposed to be.
Fences knocked down and yeah. And so you just have to deal with it. Yeah. You have to fix the problems and get everything back the way it should be. And that's kind of that. But it is that thing. It's, that's what, 5 hours Sunday morning working over there. And what...
what are you gaining out of it?
What are you gaining out of it? Working
other than a bit of money.
11 plus hour days.
Yeah.
7 days a week. what do you get out of it? And it's a hard balance. And of course, we moved to Canada, and part of moving to Canada is wanting to actually see Canada more than just this one postage stamp place that we live in.
And quite quickly, we've fallen into the not going anywhere. Like, it feels like too much hassle because there's always something needing done here.
There's always something
Not
needing
on
done.
we've said, right, no horses, because we love horses, we miss horses.
Yeah.
We'd love to have a couple horses, but no horses, no chickens, no nothing that can make it hard for us to leave.
Yeah.
We've got the dogs, but they come with us.
Yeah.
And we've set it up so that they can come with us, so that we can just drop of a hat, go where we want.
Go touring, go adventuring, and see things and see parts of Canada.
Except for we've done a really good job of not doing that. Mainly because by the weekend we're pretty tired.
Well, it's not even that. It's when was the last time I didn't do a single thing at the weekend?
Yeah. And obviously we're just coming, it's harder. We're at a bit of a burnout stage. I say we. It's the royal we. Alastair's at a burnout stage because we're just coming out the tail end of calving.
Yeah.
And the tail end of calving, there was an added complication with some sick calves. So it's just been a little bit more intense at the end there. And the way we run the place, we're doing rotational grazing. So we're moving cattle constantly. And then just, the general things aren't the way you would love them to be, and so it's always just a bit of an uphill battle, and that can be very tiring, just the situational way that the work is going. And it's hard when you have been putting in 7-day weeks for 5-6 weeks constantly,
even in the winter feeding as well.
Yeah, but they weren't all day, whereas,
no, they weren't all day.
Calving, you were much more almost all day for 7 days, so so there's that thing. It's knowing when you're reaching burnout and knowing what it's doing to you as well.
And it's, there's a multitude of things for me. The whole, if I don't do it myself, then it doesn't get done right. That's kind of an issue. But then equally, to say, okay, I'm taking the weekend off. You and I, we go off for an adventure, go see something somewhere nice, whatever. And I know that I'm leaving them to deal with it, and I know that they're going to struggle because I'm not there dealing with it. And there's a certain sense of feeling bad about leaving them to deal with it, which I shouldn't feel bad, like it's their job to deal with it. But if I'm there, I can make it easier and I can take the brunt of it. And yeah, stupid me.
It's just the position you put yourself in and the stories you tell yourself behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it almost becomes habit.
It does.
And then, like you said, sometimes it's reinforced. You give people responsibilities that would normally be yours, and then it's not quite done the way you'd have done it or to your standard. And then, today
it causes problems.
We have slightly different problems, and it's just, yeah. Yeah, it's like, how can you make that better? How can you... And I think it's hard.
It's really hard. And from my point of view, there's a lot of projects and things I want to get done, improvements I want to make, but I've already knocked 3 or 4 improvements that were meant to be done by now off my list of getting done this year because I'm doing everything. You're
chasing your tail.
Chasing your tail.
Yeah.
And the work-life balance is not there because I'm chasing my tail and because I'm putting so much effort into work.
And even so much as I've noticed as well, you've been really good. Like, no, I'm going to finish close to what would be my finish time. I'm not going to do 12-hour day. And then you just feel like when you do that, I feel like there's a sense of guilt in you.
Oh, 100%.
Because you're not finishing things. It's taking longer to get things done because you're not working these long hours. But... you're not going to get those long hours back with your life.
And it's that thing with that, there's always more to do.
Yeah.
Always, every job, every place, there's always more to do. But you feel that need to put that little bit extra effort in. And maybe it's a personal thing. Maybe a lot of people don't feel that way. I don't know. But you feel the need to put the extra effort in and, I'm going to knock off. And I say knock off early, but I'm still doing a 10-hour day or more.
Yeah.
So it's not really knocking off early.
No.
But, I get home early and then I'm at home enjoying being at home. and constantly my head's at work and I'm like, I should be doing that. If I just stayed another couple of hours, I could have got this done as well and done that. And
then you kick yourself when something happens because you had a normal hours work day.
Because I didn't work 12 hours and then this happened. And if I'd worked a couple of extra hours, well, I probably could have got on top of that before it happened.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I don't know what the solution is to a work-life balance. I just know that I don't have a good work-life balance.
I mean, you're aware of where you're at with it, which is great.
And don't get me wrong, I love what I do. I really enjoy my job. It's full of variety. I love the problem. So, every aspect of my job I love, except for the work-life balance.
Yeah. And it's almost like you just, it's like you need to have a way of stepping away.
Yes. But then when you step back into chaos, then it's like,
but whether
was that worth it?
Whether you're guilty or not.
That's the thing. It's not even about being guilty. It's about being, you come back to such chaos. It feels like more work than if you just kept working the whole time and it's like,
Don't you feel like I feel when it's at that stage that you're almost short-staffed of the right stuff?
The right is definitely, like in this situation that we're in, definitely the right is the problem.
And it's like staffing is hard in Canada, it seems. Like getting...
It definitely seems that way. Everyone we speak to, getting good, reliable, conscientious workers is really hard.
And so at the moment we've got 2 younger people who we are training. So obviously you can't rely on them to take responsibility and be fully relied upon to do everything because they don't know yet. They're still learning.
But you see, that's the thing that gets at me, is that I have no problem with not knowing what to do. I have problems with not doing or not putting in it's that thing.
But I think because we've been very different, the age that the new staff are at is an age where we were running 3 businesses, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like we had so much responsibility. That was exactly the point of that age where we grew up and went, oh my God, we're not doing this anymore. This is just insane, you know?
Yeah.
We're just not having a life. And they haven't hit any kind of point with that where they've had that.
I suppose that's it. And
experience of
a
that.
little bit of they come across problems and don't know how to deal with it. Well, almost anything I come across, and there's a lot of things I come across that I don't know how to deal with. Well, I just figure it out.
Yeah.
You know? And I know that seems to be lacking.
Well, I don't know, we're sort of going off topic, but we're talking about work mentality and things like that. But I think sometimes there's a lot of, because they see how frustrated like you and other people in the ranch get when things aren't done the way that you want it done, that there's that fear of doing it wrong. So it's almost like that, okay, I won't do anything, then I can't do it wrong. And then you get a lot of communication of, I don't know what to do, this is like this. Yeah. And then you tend to go, well, I'll come and fix it then. Yeah. You know, so you're almost creating your own problem. And what it is these people are learning. They're being trained. And sometimes you just take over because it's faster if I just do it. And, you know, even when you've taught it to someone, and I know myself, when you're learning something new, you still make mistakes. It's hard to understand if you don't comprehend the full way that it works. And, you know, certainly we know from talking about me and talking about you is different people's brains work differently for problem solving. Yep. And if they've had that kind of life where it doesn't feel like, because you've always said, oh, there's not a problem I can't solve, I'll find a way. You know, I'll always find a way. And that's such a positive, enlightening attitude to life. And a lot of other people come across a problem and it actually scares them, or me, you know. I come across a problem and it scares me. I don't know what to do, and I want someone to hold my hand. And then when you ask for someone to hold your hand and they go, okay, I'll just do it, you know. Yeah,
no, I can understand that. That is true. But then that's again, that's coming back on me because of the whole work-life balance. Which is what the topic's meant to be.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the spending too much time at work, spending
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. And I think having that responsibility at work and being conscientious and being willing to put in that little bit extra to see that the job gets done right is a vital part of being part of the workforce.
Yeah.
It's just when it gets to the point that you're sacrificing parts of your life and missing out on parts of your life because you're trying to keep the business going.
And it's interesting because, I mean, the dogs really remind us.
Yeah.
Because we have very old dogs now.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, one of them was more sick last week.
Yeah.
And it's just like your time with, and it's like it would be if we had kids or whatever. It's your time that you get to spend with these aging dogs.
Well, it's like that for someone else that works on the ranch that has a young kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? You're spending all your time working here for nothing.
Yeah.
And, you know, your kid's only going to be that age once.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people that have that same struggle. You know, they have young kids and they financially need to support their family. And so the pressure is to work hard. And obviously that, you know, it is needed. But it's then coming home with energy and enthusiasm to spend time doing something different with your family
rather than just sitting on the couch and
just catching up because you just feel so tired, you know. And we always try to do a little something at the weekend, little in the summer it's great, garden projects.
Yes.
And it's really great to get out in the garden and appreciate, you know, you've mown the grass and that was hard work yesterday. It's quite hot, the mosquitoes are out. But that appreciation of now you can look out and wander around and just be like, this is lovely. You know, we've got the veg plot out and just sort of creating some activities and some downtime.
Yes.
You know, so it's when you have the life balance, so you're at home, creating the right kind of time where you're fulfilling your needs, you're fulfilling the needs of your family. And a lot of people will either, you know, only fulfill their needs if they're sort of really needing that, or they'll only fulfill the needs of their family and not fill up their cup. And I think that's a really important thing to bring up, is when you do get time at home, is to allow some time for yourself.
Yes.
To do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I know that you as well have that slight guilt thing where you want to spend time with me because you're not spending as much time with me. And so you just, what are we going to do together? Let's do this. And you know, sometimes like, what would you like to do? I know you're trying to please me and it's lovely, but I really want you to have fun too. And I know you have fun and do things with me.
That gets into the same part of the not just coming home, sitting on the sofa and falling asleep.
And that's the thing about you finishing later in an evening is because we start early.
Yeah.
We get up when the sun rises. You know, it is early. We're talking 5 a.m.-ish, especially as the new puppy has set his alarm a little earlier than we like. Only like 15 minutes to half an hour, but that, I don't know, makes a difference every day.
It does make a difference.
So we go to bed a little earlier. So if you finish a little later, have dinner, and it just feels like dinner, I do the dishes, and then, it's nearly bedtime.
Yep.
And it's like, that's it. And it's not like we have to go to bed at a certain time, but you're tired.
Yeah.
You know, you want to go to bed and sleep. Fair enough.
That's it. And then, like you say, then that's, you know, your week, the bulk of your day, is just working, sleeping and eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get other countries around the world that try this 4-day working week.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. And they reckon for companies that they're a lot more productive workers, and I can completely believe it. Because you almost need, when you take time off work, you need a day to actually realize you're not working.
Yep.
And then a day or something like that. So a 4-day week, 3-day weekend, that makes perfect sense. It's like if we go on holiday, going on holiday for a week, it's not worth it.
No.
It takes that long to decompress and to wind down and get out of the habit of working 10, 12-hour days that you need a longer period of time.
Mm.
But you need to be able to step away from work.
I don't know where I heard it or read it. Was I really liked it. It was a guy who had a very stressful job. I can't remember what it was. And he had a bush or a tree or something outside his house. And he would go and he'd breathe deep and then he'd touch the tree and he would pass on his worries to the bush or the tree before he went into the house. And that was him like closing off from work.
That thing of making a mental effort to release the work stuff that you hold on to for the... And like that's 100% right. Like I'll come home from work stressed, pissed off, whatever, worked up about something that's not going right or some problem.
I get to hear about it. It's fun.
And it's very easy to bring that home and do that.
And it's like, you know, it's sometimes it's good to share. Like you need to release these things.
Yeah.
But there is also a way you can release it that you don't need to share that energy with your family. You know.
That's it, because then you bring it home and then the house kind of gets bummed out by it, and then you're all bummed out by it, and this is your little precious lifetime, not work time. And,
yeah. So
and you're sitting being bummed out about work.
Yeah. So I think it's important to have that moment before you step inside your house, before you spend your time with your family, to just let that go. It's now like, okay, that part of me is done. We're now family time. But it's like, don't bottle it up, because that's the other way to do it. Is I don't want to stress out my family. I won't tell it to them. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, you don't have to tell them, but you can let it go. By like I said with that guy with his bush, he says, and every time in the morning when he goes and touches the bush in the morning, like the problems are gone. They're not there anymore. Yeah. It's like by letting them go, they're gone.
That's it. It's that act of letting them go.
And then you start your next work day afresh, renewed, because you haven't carried that through from the day before.
To then be pissed off when you start work. Yeah,
you keep thinking about it. You keep building the energy on all those problems. Then you start the next day and then you're just making it bigger. Yeah. So I think, you know, beyond the work-life balance, let's do this is work and we're done. And now it's life with my family. That
makes sense. It's hard to do. Yep. And it's hard to not think about work and think, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. If I do that, and you're making plans and...
But you have like, because I know you start your work day is you basically have a meeting every morning and you discuss with all the other staff. I say all, like there's loads of staff, all the other staff on the ranch. You sit down together with your coffee and you make plans. Monday's the big plan day for the week. Yeah. And then within that is like the daily plans. It's really interesting seeing you starting to release within this topic. Yeah. So he's just done a big yawn, which is like the animals. The animals like to yawn to release. And I feel like that, I know you're tired, but I feel like that's you coming down and just having that little... Your mind's having that realization of, oh, yes.
Yeah, that's it. And it is all about sort of coming down and letting go and releasing and getting a better work-life balance.
Yeah, yeah.
Spending more time not thinking about work.
Yeah. And it's always more challenging. We're pretty good because we are a bit further away from the action where we live on the ranch. A lot of the other... folks that live on the ranch are right in the centre of the yard, which I really appreciate that we get away from that.
That's right, because it's easy to then see something. And
we have lived in that situation when we had our own farm, when we were managing other farms, you know, and even the place before this, being in the centre and going, well, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? And
I better go and check on that.
Yeah, it's worse. So we have our little slice of heaven up here, and I love it. But I think it's time to remember to let it go before spending the time. And I appreciate that, sometimes it's good to talk through your problems with someone and just and have that time, and someone me who can listen and then just let it go. We don't build on it. So that's the important thing is if you're angry about something, me getting angry about it too, you know, you're just creating the wrong. It's just about going, yes, you know, and just listening, letting you get it off your chest if that's the way you need it to be, and then we all just let it go together. You know, we can go and touch that tree together and just let it go. But
yeah, that's definitely a big part of it, is letting go when you leave work, letting go of work stuff and trying to stay disconnected from it.
Find something that works for you, that is intentional, that allows you to step away from that work and into you and enjoying your time with your family that's not work. Just whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You can just, whatever it is that you can do to allow that to happen. And I'm not, when I say you, I'm looking at you, Alastair, but I mean everyone who's listening, just be more intentional, leave work behind. Because like we said, work will replace you. So it's not important. What's important is your family.
That's the big thing. And I think that leads to, certainly for me, a lot of the frustrations at my work-life balance. Because stuff needs done. And so I end up doing it. But when you get to that point that you're really realizing that work would replace you real quick, and I don't think they really realize or appreciate the effort that you put in when you're in that situation of not letting go of work and working 7 days a week.
Until you're not there.
So like
if you're sick or you go on holiday,
that's it.
It's suddenly they have that panic, and then they're just desperate to get you back so that you can go back to your 12-hour days and save them. You know.
But in some ways, it's good that they don't appreciate that. Because if they were showing you lots of gratitude and appreciation for working 12-hour days,
you would keep doing it.
You probably would keep doing it.
That people
it's
pleasing.
Usually when you get to that point of, God's sakes, I'm putting all this effort in for what? For nothing.
Yeah.
That then you start to reassess your work-life balance. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not I keep thinking, God, it would be nice if they'd show the appreciation that you deserve for all the effort and time you're putting into it.
No, you probably work more. No, don't do it, guys. Don't do it.
That's it, yeah.
No, I mean, and you are appreciated. They appreciate what you do, but they don't quite know how much it is you do until you're not doing it. So, and that's, that's the way it is. But yeah.
Definitely don't get paid enough for it.
You were certainly saying that today. I didn't even tell you I got the cattle back after much toing and froing because, we had lush green grass where they were, and sort of bit of area where they were. They knew where they'd come out, but they didn't want to come out. And then you went to move your truck to another bit, and it was like, I'm not starting now. I'm just going to break down. I was like, oh no. Thankfully, you fixed that because you can fix any problem apparently. But it was just like, okay, that's enough. Things just not quite going to plan, please.
Yeah.
Then we went round to another section. There was another little group of cattle out.
Well, they can wait there.
And that's where we drew the line, because you knew how you could fix that problem in a way where they couldn't leave where they were, but
could make a quick fix and let them be out where they're out and deal with that later.
That's Monday's problem tomorrow.
That's future Alastair problem.
For future Alastair.
Yeah, he's got a lot of problems coming his way.
So yeah, so have a think about your work-life balance, and also about how do you bring your work home, or do you bring yourself home, the you that loves your family and loves to spend time with your family.
And that thing, it's so easy to take your family for granted. Put all your effort and everything into work and not put the same effort into your family, into your life.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm guilty of doing it, and I'm an idiot for doing it that way. The family and your life should be the most effort, and work, we'll give it a bit of effort, but the balance should definitely be the other way.
What does it say? Happy wife, happy life.
There you go, yeah.
But it's happy you. Happy husband makes a happy wife, or whatever way you have your life, Just you come home happy and feeling good, then whoever or whatever is around you will appreciate that, and you'll get to enjoy that time together, whatever you do.
Yeah.
You bring your work home and how you feel about your work, and you don't let that go, and you don't feel yourself, then
and
it's not.
We talk about work-life balances, but one of the other things is, if you don't like your job or don't love your job, get another job. There's plenty of jobs out there, and proportionally, even if you have a better work-life balance than me, you're still spending a lot of your life at work. And if you hate it, oh my God, get another job.
I know. And that's a wonderful segue into probably another topic, which is overcoming fear and getting out of your comfort zone. So yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah, because
as frustrated as I get, I do love my job.
Yeah, and you find it very easy to make changes.
Yes.
And change your situation.
Yeah, if I was properly frustrated with work, then I would quite happily just say, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And go find new work.
And there's a lot of people that would have, like, even the last work, so we emigrated to Canada, and then the last work wasn't working out, and we changed our work visa so you could get other work, and then literally stepped off the place with a tent and our belongings.
A tent
we borrowed, yeah. It wasn't even our tent. Bought an extra bit of camping gear, and we're effectively homeless in Canada looking for a job. Yeah. And, there was people, and we'd heard of people that stayed on that last place because they were afraid that there wasn't anything they could do, and they didn't know what they could do. Whereas you were like, we're getting out of here. This is no good.
Yeah. Not dealing with this.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And, very grateful that within a week you'd lined up a job. It took a little bit longer to get into the accommodation, but that was fine. Like, you quite quickly found a job and we were settled again.
Yeah.
But, overcoming that fear to just step out into the unknown when you don't have something. And we're very lucky that it's just us and the dogs. We don't have kids, which I know is a lot more responsibility because you have the uprooting, an upheaval of moving, and then, providing for the kids and making sure that they're getting their educational needs fulfilled and everything else. And, within their friends and socially, I totally get that we have the freedom, and it's part of why we've never had kids is we have the freedom to do what we want.
Yeah.
But I totally get that it's not as easy. Even if you have the freedom that we have, it's not as easy as you've made it out. It is, but my goodness, is it not?
Yeah. Oh no, it is hard. And it's hard to leave a job when, even if you don't like it, just because it's the rut you're in. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a future topic, and we can talk about the guidance we got in leaving the last place in Canada. Yeah.
So we'll call it there on your work-life balance, and we'll maybe just start recording our next podcast.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for opening up this topic, and it's a lot to think about, that's for sure. It really is not easy, and we really appreciate that it's a challenging topic, and that's why we wanted to talk about it.
Yep.